Rick here once again with Thrifty Survivor, and I'd like to welcome you to our Thrifty Survivor YouTube channel. Now today what I'm going to do is just a kind of a quick review on this little alcohol burning stove. And I got to look down at my notes because it doesn't really have a brand name per se, but it's been very reliable and it's got some weird letters, so I'm going to go ahead and mention those. It's A as in apple, dash S, Z as in zebra, C, X, T as in Tom, O, P as in Paul. So again, that's A dash S, Z, C, X, T, O, P. Now, I wish I could just give you a brand name, but that's just the way it is. Now, one thing about alcohol burning stoves, a lot of you may know, but we want to appeal to everybody who comes to our channel. Number one is these actually can be used indoors, unlike a wood burning stove. And we are doing, as you can see, this video indoors today. Part of the reason we got an 80% chance of rain. So far we haven't seen it, but anyway, I didn't want to get soaked. But again, one of the advantages to these is the fact that you can use them indoors. You can use them in a tent, and there aren't going to be embers that come up and burn holes through the tent or burn the tent down. That wouldn't be a good situation. Another nice thing about these is how compact they are. Basically, I can store it like this and it's ready to go. Now inside, you got the little alcohol container and it's sealed. So you can you just pop this lid off, unscrew this, and it's got a rubber gasket inside. I don't know if you want to zoom in on that, but it's got a nice little gasket there. So you can store this in your backpack with no fear of this leaking out into your backpack. One thing that I really like about these is you don't have to get any really special kind of fuel. These function on just straight rubbing alcohol. Now, I actually go for the 91% alcohol, like what we have here, instead of the 70%. The 70% will work, but it's just not going to be as efficient. It does burn a little bit cleaner if you don't want to leave soot on your cookware. Okay, there is that advantage to the 70%, but I'd still recommend the 91% because it just burns better. It'll provide more heat, and if it's at all windy outdoors, these actually will blow out more easily than a lot of your wood burning stoves. But again, sometimes wind is not that much of an issue if you're inside your tent. So, pros and cons. I just wanted to get that out early. Now, what I'm going to do today is just kind of a quick test. We're going to go ahead and light it up. I'm not going to use my ferro rod because I don't want the sparks burning holes in the tablecloth here. So I'll just be using a lighter, just so you know. But I'm just going to boil water. This is 16 ounces of water in here, and I'm just going to bring it up to a boil and see how long it takes. I'm going to be using the 91% rubbing alcohol. Same alcohol you can pick up at Walmart. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I normally use the 70%, for doing my shots, but I could use this. This will work also. One thing I'm going to mention as well, I mentioned this actually on our backpack review that we did last week. For storing things like alcohol or any kind of fuel that you're going to use for your stoves, unless it comes in a tank, I personally use these Elmer's glue containers. I've used containers that were actually designed to contain fluid, and if you stick them in a backpack and squeeze it, or put a lot of weight on it, they'll leak. What I found is these don't leak. I mean, I've not actually tried standing on it. That might be a little bit ridiculous, but I wouldn't be surprised if this would hold. Again, it's just a good way of storing your fluid. Easy spout, you can just pour it in there real easy. But this little container here is already full. It stores enough probably to boil 16 ounces of water twice, which if you can boil 16 ounces of water, you can pretty much cook a meal for one person. Obviously, if you're frying eggs, that would take less time than bringing 16 ounces of water up to a boil. So enough on that. I'm going to move up a little bit closer here to scare you even more. Let's go ahead and get this thing going. Now I'm going to just pop this little lid off. Oh, pull it out of here. Unscrew this. I guess I could have just left it open. Put this back in here. Now you want to make sure you put it in here before you light it. Otherwise you're going to be trying to stick it in there while it's burning. I've tried that, trust me. It ain't good. Another thing I'm going to mention, because I'm not sure if I'll demonstrate this, is on the lid, you can actually adjust the flame. You can adjust the heat to a certain extent, which is something that you're not going to be able to do with your typical wood-burning stove. Now, I'll be honest with you. Personally, I prefer the wood-burning stoves. I like the smell of the wood. I like the fact that you don't have to bring any fuel at all. You know, those will burn with just paper, wood, whatever. But they're a little bit harder to get going, and you're not going to want to use that inside your tent, under your tarp, or anywhere near those things. So enough said about that. Let's go ahead and get her lit, and it's already got 91% rubbing alcohol in there. It lit, but wow, that is hot. Anyway, okay, so we got her going, and I'm not going to put this on there at all. Generally, you don't need it. I let it go for a little bit because it's going to flour. Basically, you want to wait until the flames are coming out evenly around the edges, and it just takes a little bit of time to reach that point. A slight disadvantage to these little alcohol burning stoves. Now, I could put the water on there now, but it just doesn't burn as efficiently unless you wait for it to flour. And when it does that, the flames won't be as high. Also, it won't soot up your cookware as much. Doesn't create much soot, but it does create a little bit. It's starting to do that already. It doesn't take very long. But what I do with this is when it's time to put it out, I just throw this on there and it puts out the flame. Alcohol sometimes can be a little bit tough to blow out, and not that you can't, but it's just easy with this. So I'm going to just use my watch here, and I'm going to wait till it gets down to, okay, it's 4. Okay, it's going to be 4:23 when I start. So we got just a few seconds to go here. It's just easier for you guys. If I forget, would y'all remind me? I started at 4:43. No, I don't expect that. Okay, I'm going to wait another 5 seconds. I'm going to be as precise as I can here, and it looks like it's yep, nice and hot. Okay, there we go. All right, 4:43 exactly. And let's just see how long this takes to burn or to boil. Now I'm going to put the lid on. As you know, it'll go a little bit quicker. Now what I'm going to try to do is figure out a few other things to talk about while this is going. I don't want this to be boring, but at the same time I don't want to cut anything out so that you guys can't tell me later that I sped this up. So I'm going to try to keep finding things to discuss. Again, what I like about these is how compact they are. There's really no setup other than opening the lid and lighting them. The wood burning stove, actually I haven't done a review on that one yet. I will be doing that later. That particular one is a folding one. And actually I showed it on the backpack. I believe on the backpack video, Brian. I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, okay. But I didn't demonstrate it. it actually sets up to be a larger stove than this, which is kind of convenient. It's nice and compact. It actually folds a lot flatter than this, though it is taller and wider, but flat. There is the advantage that you can use the wood, or you can use even dried grass, hay, toilet paper, napkins, anything that's flammable you can throw in there and it'll burn. And but again, like I mentioned, there are some innate disadvantages to that. The fact that you just can't use that in a tent unless you're dumb. Now, you might think I might try something like that, and I'm going to tell you I haven't yet, but I don't think I will. But something else that I'll mention, and very few people talk about this, but on these rubber seals, some fluids will actually be harmful to that seal. I'm not sure whether rubbing alcohol can harm this or not, but what I do to protect it is, now I've got a real nice pellet gun, and I've got all the stuff to that you can throw into the chamber to preserve the rubber seals in there. And most people don't bother with that, but most people don't spend hundreds of dollars on a pellet gun either. Anyway, that chamber oil is perfect for kind of putting a drop or two on there and just getting it all over the seal. Basically, anything that will protect natural rubber or silicone can be used, and it'll just protect that. I put it on there just to protect it. I don't know if it's necessary, but I just thought I'd mention it. Okay, doesn't look like it's burning, but all right. Oh yeah, still going. That's the thing about alcohol. If you're in a well-lit area, you're probably not going to see the flame. So you kind of got to be careful about, setting something on top of the stove that you don't think is lit. Like wood, you burn wood, even in bright sunlight, you're usually going to see the flame. That's not the case with alcohol stoves. A lot of your stoves that use gas, that might be a similar issue as well. I much prefer the convenience of the alcohol, and even your gas stoves. Those are real convenient, and we'll get into some of that later on in some of our future videos. But yeah, it takes a lot longer for this to boil water than a wood burning stove, at least the one that I have. I believe I got the water to boil in 7 minutes. Now this actually has only been going now for about 4 minutes. So we got a while to go. Something that I do throw in, now this, I don't know if you can see this, but it's not real important, but I always carry something to get rid of the soot on my cookware, on my mess kit basically. Doesn't really matter. You can use a Lapua or one of these. I think they're called Lapuas, those natural sponge type of things. I could be wrong, but anyway, cheap stuff. But it's good to have, because if you don't get rid of the soot, now with this it's not going to be as important since it's alcohol. You throw it in your backpack without getting rid of the soot. Well, everything in your backpack starts to turn black. And that black will rub off on other items as well. So it's not going to destroy, it's not going to kill anything, but anyway, just a thought. I'm really just trying to keep going here. I'm going to go ahead and talk about this Stanley. What I'll do is I'll provide a link to both the stove and the mess kit. So I guess we can kind of call this a review on both. This mess kit, it's all stainless steel, and it'll hold up to 40 ounces of water, and it's got graduated lines here. It's got 16 ounces, 20 ounces, 32, and 40 ounces, which is nice and convenient. This handle, folds up and then locks into place. Obviously, it's got a vented lid on it. It also comes with 2 bowls, and everything fits inside. Everything stores in there. Now these bowls, actually, Brian, you might kind of want to zoom in on this. These aren't cheap stuff. I mean, these are sturdy bowls. I mean, they're plastic, but I don't know if you can see the thickness of that, but it's pretty thick stuff. And I picked this up at Walmart for $14.99. It's good quality stainless, very durable. I mean, I've knocked this thing around, don't have any dents in it yet. You know, it's not as light as aluminum, but aluminum does have its disadvantages. There are some issues with aluminum. Some people don't like to cook with aluminum because of the fact that they release. Anyway, there's been some mention of having a connection with Alzheimer's with aluminum when you cook with aluminum. Now you can lick aluminum all day long, it won't harm you, but when you cook with it, it releases some of those properties. Anyway, stainless won't do that. I'm just telling Brian to let my dog in, otherwise he's going to keep barking. But anyway, now this little mess kit also comes with these little tools here. And what you've got is a spatula and a ladle. And this is not garbage. I mean, this little thing, it fits in the bowls, fits right in there. And this is actually pretty solid. I mean, that handle is well connected there. And you can also extend it. If you don't want to get anywhere near the flame, the whole thing is sturdy. And I was pretty impressed with that. I mean, you know, I guess you could just bring a ladle and a spatula. It'll take up at least twice, well, probably 4 or 5 times this amount of space. Usually they're not going to collapse. Now you can get some camping ones, but this comes with one that fits, well, basically it becomes one small unit that fits in the bowls, which fit inside your mess kit. The handle folds up and everything fits right in there. And I've also found that there's room for my P38 in there. I can also throw a lighter in there and a few other items. Again, you want to be as compact as you can when whether you're hiking or in a survival situations. You can get as much stuff, as many necessities in your kit as possible. Now, yeah, it's starting to get hot, but we're not anywhere near a boil yet. I'm guessing this probably will take around 12 minutes. We'll see. We're up to almost 10 minutes, so it might take a little bit longer than that. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and take this apart. And normally I would cut this off and we'd pick up later. And you'll be able to do this if you want to speed through some of this. Feel free to do that. But I want you guys to see how long it takes for this to bring this water to a boil, so that you don't have any question in your mind. Just trying to be fair to y'all. And this will just give me an opportunity to, let me see here, put this all back together, so I won't have to do it later. I think I might have done this backwards. Upside down. Nope, I guess it does go like that. Okay. There we go. All right. And when you put these in the bowl, as if we're still talking about bowls, you just kind of line up those little notches, stick that in there. As you can see, there's plenty of room in there for other things. And then you just throw the lids on there. And there's another lid here. And it all stores nice and conveniently in your little mess kit. I'm going to see if there might be a few other things while we're waiting. I should be able to hear it when it starts to boil. Okay, we got little bubbles in there, but not much. thought I had one in here. I guess I don't. Well, I was going to talk about a peanut lighter, and I thought this was a peanut lighter, but it actually isn't. I actually just store seasonings in these little waterproof containers. I tell you what, I'll go ahead and provide a link to this as well. I got 6 of these little containers, and you may want to kind of zoom in on these. I mentioned these on our backpack review, but I'm just, we got the clock going here, so but these little things are great. They're waterproof. They got a little rubber seal. You just unscrew them. And I've got salt in both of these. I got my Carolina Reaper in there. That's just a personal favorite of mine. And I got black pepper in this one. Anyway, it comes with 6. And then I got 2 other seasonings. I can't remember what they are. I'd have to open them and smell them. But anyway, those are just little things that are convenient. The whole thing costs about $7 for all 6 of them. Not a bad deal. They're made of aluminum. They're not plastic. Nice and durable. And, a lot of folks overlook the seasoning. If you're going to be cooking something, whether it be a squirrel, a possum, whatever it might be, fish, you're probably going to want to season it. You can still eat it without seasoning, but kind of boost the morale if your food tastes good. I can hear it now. I'm not going to ask you to do it yet, Brian, but what I may do, and you folks will have to put up with maybe the camera jerking around a little bit, but when it comes to a boil, I think I'm going to have Brian take the camera off the tripod and bring it over, and you'll have to watch out for the cables. But just so we can show the boil going on. I want people to know for sure that it's actually boiling. And I think I got that thing. Could be a little bit better centered. All right. I don't know if they can hear that, but I can hear it. It's starting to get there. And let me see here. I'll actually put the time up on the screen. You guys will be seeing the time. I'm not going to have a running time because I don't know how to do that. But I'll be able to type in so you can see it later how much time it actually took. We're looking at right now, let's see, that would be 5. We're probably around 13, 14. It might take 15 minutes. I don't know. We're close, but we're not quite to a boil yet. It looks like it'll take about twice as long, maybe a little bit more than twice as long to come to a boil as it did with the wood burning stove. Let me see here. Yeah, you might want to go ahead and disconnect the camera because it's coming to a good rolling boil here. Pardon us, but we're lazy, so we mount cameras on tripods. I've done this many a times when I was by myself. Yeah, just pull that little lever back. You got it? Yeah, okay. And there we go. Sorry, folks. And he's trying to hold it steady while he does this. It's not easy to do, but and I'm just going to pull the lid off and just kind of, ooh, that's hot. Okay, now that kind of slows the boil down a little bit, but as you can see, we got a good boil going on there. So around 15 minutes or so. So, yeah, you can go ahead and back off now. At this point, now I'm going to wait till he gets the camera back before I do my extra. But just so you know, at this point, I think we're going to wrap this up. And I hope we provided some good information for you here today. I'm not going to go through the name of the stove again, but I will have it displayed on the screen later as the video plays back. We will also be providing a link to both the stove and the mess kit. And I'll go ahead and throw the link in for these little containers here. Just a little convenient thing. But now, I just want to thank you folks for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our video. And please give us a big thumbs up, subscribe, and share this video with those that you feel might be interested in this type of demonstration, so to speak. Also, if you'd like to see more content like this and you'd like to help support the channel, please visit our website. It's an Amazon affiliate site, and it's thriftysurvivor.com. Kind of like our little icon or our thumbnail next to the video here. It says Thrifty Survivor. It's thriftysurvivor.com. Easy to find, and that helps us actually come up with what we need to provide more videos like this. We got to buy these things so that we can demonstrate them and give our reviews, our opinions of them. I'll go ahead and just let that boil. But anyway, again, if you'd like to support our channel, we get a small commission from Amazon, and we've got a lot of items actually excuse me, on our website that you may have interest in. Things that we may never do a review on necessarily. Probably at some time we'll get around to them. But again, it helps us out. Again, I want to thank you all for watching. I wish you all the best. Stay safe. And we'll see you soon. Bye for now.